The biggest mistake people make when they're behind on their retirement plan isn't starting late. It's trying to fix everything at once.
They throw money at debt, then investments, then savings, then they stop because life gets expensive. A real retirement plan needs a sequence. In this video, I'll show you the 10-year sequence I would use if I had to catch up. Not a list of ideas you pick from, an order. Step 1 before Step 2, Step 2 before Step 3. Because here's what nobody tells you when you're starting late. The order you do things in matters almost as much as what you do.
Pay off the wrong debt first, and you lose your employer match. Max out a 401k before you've handled high-interest debt, and you're paying 22% to save at 7%. Chase Social Security too early, and you lock in a smaller check for the rest of your life, guaranteed.
So let's build this the right way. 10 years, broken into 4 phases. I'll tell you exactly what happens in each one and why it comes when it does. Before you fix anything, you need to see everything. Most people who fall behind on retirement have never actually written down the full picture. They have a feeling, not a number. So week 1, you get the number.
Go to ssa.gov, create your account, and pull your Social Security statement. It'll show your projected monthly benefit at 3 ages, 62, your full retirement age, and 70. Write those 3 numbers down. The gap between them is bigger than most people expect, and it matters later. We'll come back to it.
Next, list every debt you have. Balance, interest rate, minimum payment. Rank them highest interest rate to lowest, not highest balance, highest rate. That distinction is going to drive everything in Phase 2. Then list every account, 401k, IRA, HSA, any brokerage account, and the balance and current contribution rate for each. The last piece, call your HR department or log into your 401k portal and find your exact employer match formula. Not what you think it is, the exact percentage. If you're not contributing enough to get the full match, fix that this week before anything else. That's free money with a guaranteed return, and walking away from it is the single most expensive mistake on this entire list. That is Phase 1, 90 days. No big moves just yet, just clarity. You can't sequence a plan you can't see. Here's where people get this wrong most often. They either ignore debt completely and pour everything into investments, or they go scorched earth on every debt and stop saving entirely. Neither is the move. The real rule is simpler than you'd think. Compare the interest rate on your debt to what your investments could reasonably earn. Somewhere around 6% is the line. Above that line, the debt is the higher certainty problem. Below that line, a mortgage in the 4s, for example, the math doesn't demand urgency.
So here's the sequence for years 1 and 2. Keep contributing enough to capture your full employer match, non-negotiable, every paycheck. At the same time, attack your highest interest debt first. Credit cards, personal loans, anything above that 6% line. This is called the avalanche method. Highest rate first, regardless of balance, and it saves you the most money over time. Keep a small buffer while you do this. Somewhere between $1,000 and $3,000 sitting in cash, so an unexpected expense doesn't knock you back into the debt you're trying to kill. Once that high-interest debt is gone, and for most people starting around age 45, this takes somewhere in that 1 to 2 year window if they're aggressive about it, you take the payment you were making on that debt and you redirect every dollar of it into retirement accounts. That's the moment the sprint actually feels like a sprint. The money was already leaving your account every month. It just changes direction. This is the engine room of the whole plan, and the order you fill these accounts is not arbitrary. It follows the actual tax code. Step 1, and you've already done this, employer match. Step 2, max out your HSA, if you have a high-deductible health plan. This is the most overlooked account in personal finance, and here's why. It's the only account that gives you a tax break going in, tax-free growth, and tax-free withdrawals on the way out, as long as it's for medical expenses. No other account does all three, and there's no time limit on reimbursement.
You can pay a medical bill out of pocket today, save the receipt, and pull that money out tax-free 20 years from now. Most people leave their HSA sitting in cash. Invest it. Treat it like a retirement account, because that's exactly what it is. Step 3. Max out a Roth IRA. If you're 50 or older, you get a catch-up contribution on top of the normal limit. The IRS specifically built this for people in exactly your position. Tax-free growth, and the government never forces you to withdraw it. Step 4. Go back to your 401k and push toward the full catch-up maximum. At 50 and older, that limit is significantly higher than the standard contribution cap. And if you make it to your early 60s before you retire, there's even a bigger version of that catch-up. Congress added it specifically for that age window. This is the part worth sitting with for a second. The tax code was not built against you once you cross 50. It was built to help you close the gap faster than anyone younger than you is legally allowed to. While this is happening, 2 more things should be running in the background. First, your income. Your 40s and 50s are typically your highest earning years. A raise, a promotion, consulting on the side, teaching what you already know, every extra dollar above your normal expenses goes straight into the accounts you just filled. Research on this is almost uncomfortably clear. Working even a few months longer before retirement can do as much for your retirement income as saving an extra % of your salary for 30 years straight, mostly because of what it does to your Social Security number, which we'll get to. Second is your portfolio. You do not need to pick stocks. A single target date fund or 3 index funds covering U.S. stocks, international stocks, and bonds is enough. What actually drives your results is your mix between stocks and bonds, not which specific fund you choose. Somewhere in the 70-30 to 80-20 range in your mid-40s to mid-50s, gradually shifting more conservative as you get closer to the finish line. That's 5 years of compounding, automated, running quietly while you live your life. This is the phase most people never even know exists, and it's where the biggest single decision in the entire plan lives. Remember those 3 Social Security numbers from Phase 1? Here's why they mattered. For every year you delay claiming Social Security past your full retirement age, up to age 70, your benefit goes up by roughly 8%, guaranteed, inflation-adjusted, paid for the rest of your life. Wait the full 3 years past full retirement age, and you're often looking at close to a 24% larger check for life. There is no investment on earth that offers a guaranteed, government-backed, inflation-protected 8% annual return. This is it. But here's the catch. You need income to live on while you wait. That's the bridge. In years 7 through 10, this is what you're building. A few options, used together or separately depending on your situation. A bond or CD ladder, a handful of bonds or certificates of deposit maturing 1 per year, so you've always got money coming due to live on without ever touching your invested portfolio during a downturn. Your home equity, even if you never sell, knowing what it's worth gives you options. Downsizing, relocating, or simply holding it in reserve all change what your bridge needs to cover. And for some people, a small income annuity, converting a portion of savings into a guaranteed paycheck for life, not the whole portfolio. Research generally points to somewhere around 10 to 25% of assets as a reasonable range, used specifically to cover essential expenses, not as an all-or-nothing bet. None of these need to be complicated. They just need to cover the gap long enough for that 24% increase to kick in. And this is also the window to build your team.
a fee-only financial planner, someone paid by you and nobody else, plus a CPA who does actual tax planning, not just tax prep. Bring them your numbers from Phase 1. Let them model the whole 10-year plan against your real numbers, not averages. To recap the retirement plan, spend 90 days to see the full picture clearly, with no guessing. Years 1 and 2 to capture the match and kill the debt that's actually expensive. Not all of it, just the part above that 6% line. Years 2 through 7 to fill your accounts in the order the tax code rewards. Match, HSA, Roth, then back to the 401k at the catch-up max, while your income and your portfolio quietly do their own work in the background. And years 7 through 10 to build the bridge that lets you delay Social Security and lock in a bigger check for the rest of your life.
10 years sounds long when you're standing at the start of it. It does not feel long when you're standing at the end, looking back at 4 phases instead of one overwhelming pile. This isn't easy, nobody's pretending it is, but it is doable, and now you know the order.
If this video made you think, I need to actually do something about this, good. That feeling is your signal to start with Phase 1 today, not next month. So give us a like, and if you haven't, be sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. And if you want the worksheet that walks you through it step by step, it's linked in the description. No email required, just grab it. See you in the next one.